This is the Sleepy Bones Detective Agency. My name is... My name is... Sorry, the button was stuck on scream. My name is Jake Lucy, and I am trying to set the mood here. No. Yes! Oh, yes! As is tradition here at this most seasonally appropriately named company, we've taken our annual trip to Key Hill Cemetery, and, using the latest in evil LLM technology, have summoned the many vagrant spirits haunting the Jewelry Quarter, turning their decades of hard, soul-sucking work into 3 Frankenstein little stories. And let's be clear here, I did all the hard work, 'cause I put the prompts into the machine, okay? What's that? Did I ask their permission first? In the words of Nick Clegg, a man who does know what a computer is, that would kill this ghoulish industry overnight. And that's the scariest time to do anything. Here's the first one right now. Watch out for those M dashes. It's I'm you from the future. As Christmas draws across the horizon, the empty house wakes the boy for breakfast. A trickling alarm, starting slow and gentle, and eventually culminating in a raucous crescendo that, without the aid of the gradual shift from darkness to lamplight, is still ineffective. Christmas, at this age, while still a little exciting, is not the all-consuming, can't-sleep-at-night, naughty or nice event that it used to be. He was quick to dream, slow to rise, and by the time he reaches the kitchen, the automated breakfast that had been prepared is an hour and a half cold. After half emptying the plate of brown and beans, he slinks from room to room to confirm his suspicions. His father has broken his promise. He is absent again. He is in his laboratory, in a part of the city unknown to this boy grown in the suburbs. Beneath the plastic tree, there are presents wrapped in such meticulous fashion that only the house itself could have done them. For a man who builds machines for a living, his father is not this detail-oriented. As he carefully peels back the craft paper wrapping, careful not to give the robotic vacuum cleaner too much work on a holiday, there is a crash outside. For a moment, the house goes on high alert and all the lights flash and the walls turn red, and something, somewhere in the house, begins to power down. Then, a declaration of safety. No immediate danger to be found. A false alarm. An accident, perhaps. It is not important. The boy's curiosity is piqued, and, in his pajamas, he dons his outside shoes and heads out into the briskness of the 25th, where snow has fallen and the lake has frozen over. He treads careful. He is reminded by the tin voice of the house that the temperature has dipped below -35 Celsius, that too much exposure could lead to his demise, and that, while the sensors indicate no immediate threat, they are not omniscient nor sentient, and cannot predict the unpredictable. He listens. He takes heed. But he ventures forth regardless. The smoke can be seen from the porch, and it is well inside the bounds of the property. So in bounds, in fact, that it is unusual that the house has not declared an emergency situation. He questions the house, but it does not respond to him. It has never been silent before. He sneaks in half steps, careful not to draw too much attention to himself. He is defenseless but curious of the smouldering metal remains of some kind of vehicle, though there is not a wheel to be seen. It is shaped more like a washing machine than a car, with an eggshell chassis, and a porthole fogged up to a haze with smoke and dirt. A jet of pressurized air is released in a cloud that almost burns the skin off the side of the boy's face, and the porthole unfurls before his eyes. Curled up in the heart of the pod is a child, around the boy's age. Hair styled similar, with the angular chops that only the absence of human hands can impart. Shirt and shorts unseasonable and free from branding or illustration. Shoes unfamiliar, seemingly made from a hard plastic resin. No expression on their face. Are they dead? As he considers reaching out to touch the stranger's burnished skin, their eyes strike open, blue, much like his own, only with a sheen to them as if they were backlit. In a voice with no place in this world, they speak. Processing. Please state clearly the date today. He acknowledges the question, and provides the answer in day, month, and year format. This process is familiar. When the sky thunders, the house attracts lightning. If it's hit, the built-in artificial intelligence system tends to reboot. Each time, its first priority is to ensure that it knows the correct date, followed by the time. And, continues the stranger, voice coming to a more but not entirely natural cadence, what is the time? Again, the answer is provided. For accuracy, the boy goes to check his smartwatch and finds that it is dead, despite being charged all night long. His guess is as good as the honest truth, though, just not down to the impending second. Thank you for your cooperation. My internal clock has been adjusted, and I can proceed. It appears that I have misjudged the arrival time by several hours. Only a short amount of time remains, says the stranger, turning their attention to the damaged pod. It would be unwise to wait here. You are not supposed to catch a cold. Hand in hand, as the stranger is unsteady in the snow, the two return to the expectant embrace of the automated house. It is cold inside. It does not respond to a request to turn up the central heating. Together, they take a seat at the kitchen table, and the shivers begin to take a hold. Dampened clothes stick to their skin, and something drips from the boy's nose as his body readjusts to a comfortable temperature. He suggests to the stranger that they ought to take a bath. Regardless of whether the artificial intelligence has been knocked out, the water should still be hot. They should go first, he suggests, as they are the guest, and it is only polite. There is no response from the stranger for a moment, as if they are lost in thought. All of their attention, if momentarily, is focused on the analog clock nailed to the kitchen wall. It is closer than I first imagined, says the stranger. Then, realizing they had missed something, asks the boy to repeat his request. He does. It is not advisable for me to immerse myself in water, says the stranger. We must stay here now. Do you get cold quickly, they ask, or do you run warm? Do you complain a lot? It is not a question worth thinking about. If anything, it is rude. Still, he nods to the first question. In return, the stranger starts to shiver alongside him. It is forced, as if they are mocking the boy. He worries for a second if they had hit their head in the crash. He asks, out of curiosity, what they were doing out there. I cannot reveal that, says the stranger. It is, ultimately, unimportant. Are you a warrior? A moment of thought, and he shakes his head. This is frustrating. He no longer wants the company. If his father is not going to return home, he would be happier spending today on his own, like any other day. Politeness, as he was taught before obsession claimed his only tutor, overcomes him, and he seeks to offer something else. Food. I do not require sustenance, says the stranger. Stilted, uncomfortable, they ask, what is your favorite food? Not an easy question to answer. The house is able to provide meals at automated intervals, so that the boy never goes hungry. A pre-planned selection is decided based on deliveries and ingredients at the beginning of each monthly cycle, most of which are served hot, albeit with little difference in flavour between them. They are all missing one key ingredient. After reflection, the boy gives an honest answer. His father's cooking. The meal itself, he adds, is not so important. To this, the stranger nods, then freezes in place as if contemplating this information with the most serious expression, passing it through their own experiences and finding little in common with the answer. As if annoyed, they ask, "Where is he? Does he often leave the house?" This time, the boy does not answer the question. It is not his turn. He does not want to tell the truth, despite the hard lock stare from the stranger. He asks, quietly, if the stranger is familiar with his father's work. He is, in a way, famous, so an answer in the affirmative would not be surprising. However, the stranger follows suit, and chooses not to answer the question. A dreadful silence fills the kitchen, and the boy looks around for something. One tick of the neck in the direction of each cabinet that surrounds the pair, until he finds one that he can use to pack away some time. Is he gone a lot? At the very least, the boy figures that they could use a cup of hot tea until the house can reboot and warm them up. He has never made himself tea before. In fact, he has never made anything. He climbs onto the countertop, resting on his knees. "This is not advisable," began the stranger, and then, as if they were going to say something else, but then chose to keep it to themselves, looked towards the clock face one more time, said something to itself, then buried its face in its hands. He assures the stranger that he is fine, and pulls open the cabinet to reveal a catastrophic collection of glassware and ceramics, along with 2 boxes of imported breakfast tea, Russian caravan style. As he reaches for the cracked pot in the back, he slips. Out of instinct, his hand reaches out and grasps the cabinet door, but the hinges cannot take the full breadth of his weight. First, the top set snaps, and he drops to the tiled floor with a crack. Blood trickles down the back of his neck, as a glass comes tumbling down after him and cuts a chunk out of his lip. He has only enough time to utter the words, "Dad, help!" before there is another creak. The screw has come loose, the cabinet droops and lets loose a flurry of potential shards. Instinct again, and the boy covers his eyes. There is another, louder creak and crack. The cabinet, overstocked with 2 lifetimes of cups and mugs, falls in an arc suited perfectly to crush the boy's still growing skeleton. He feels no more pain. He opens his eyes, and he is not where he was when he closed them. He is in his bed, and he has been tucked in. His throat hurts, and a red bar of rash has raised itself on his skin where his shirt collar has been pulled hard against it. Beside him sits the emotionless stranger, glass still embedded in the side of their head. "You are safe." It all happened so quickly. That could have been the end of him. "It was supposed to be," says the stranger. "How are you feeling?" He has felt better, but he is grateful. "When do you think your father will return?" The boy does not know the answer to this question. He can only manage one thought. He is not certain that he will ever return. "This is untrue," says the stranger. "Or it was untrue." The boy wants to know why, but he does not ask. He does not need to ask. He is aware that he is fragile. He is aware that the accident could have killed him. Instead, what he wants to know is, how? How did the stranger know he was going to die? "I am you," says the stranger, "in one way or another." A flash of excitement spreads across the boy's face, and the stranger reacts for only a second. This, he momentarily believes, is what his father has been working on all this time. A sibling. Now, it seems, they are waiting for their shared father to return. For him to arrive, time must pass. The boy asks the stranger if they have any more questions. Hesitant, As if there is something else to be said here, the stranger makes an effort. How do you like to spend these days? There is something wrong, but he cannot place what it is, or where it is. Do you go to school? No. Why is the house so quiet? What time is it? Where were you born? Here. Out of habit, the boy checks his watch, and it is still dead. What will you do, now that there is a future for you? The stranger, he realizes, has not yet blinked since they awoke. What is your blood type? His attention is pulled towards the door of his bedroom, as if he saw a shadow, but there is nothing there. What do you really think of your father? He turns back and, without permission, the answer to that question comes out of a part of him that even he did not know was there. Realistically, he barely knows the man. He tells the stranger that he has not seen his father in 9 months, and before that, 8 months. Then, who takes care of you? He tells the stranger that the house takes care of him, that he does not mind it, that it is what it was programmed to do. That being said, he tells him, he is worried that the house has been so quiet since they arrived. That is my fault, they say, but I will find a way to make it up to you. Then the stranger blinks, and when those eyes open back up, the glow has dissipated from them. I understand now. The boy does not ask what the stranger means, but he does not need to. There is something between them. You are not a houseplant. I must tell you something. But you must promise me that you will not panic. In response, the boy nods his head. I am you, as I have told you already. I am from the future, says the stranger. I am the creation of your father, 10 years from now. A replacement. The boy was, ostensibly, dead. As evidence, the stranger lifts their shirt. Like the belly of a glass-bottomed boat, their chest is clear. Inside, amongst the grinding gears and pulsating engine, floats a skull, embedded with cracks and breakage, and cemented shards where an eyebrow might sit. I was created to replace you, says the stranger. To replace an idea of you. We do not look the same. Truly, you have been much forgotten. I brought myself back here to learn more about you, to become a better you, to become a better replacement, so that our father would not resent me. The boy says nothing. His eyes are getting heavy. He is tired now. He is cold. He wants to see his father. But, they continue, the problem is not with me. Our father is the problem. Neither of these situations would have ever occurred were he not obsessed with his own creations. The boy says nothing. You need rest, says the stranger. I will take care of you now. I will stay here until he comes home. And then I will take care of him, too. Yes! It's alive! Alive! Now I can automatically generate 1,000,000 nuggets of slop an hour, using only the free-range souls of the damned, at the low, low cost of all the running water in the United States and several acres of rainforest. All I see in my future is $1 trillion, and absolutely zero consequences for my actions. Oh, who is it?
It's the consequences of your actions.
Oh no! Quick! Oh no! Oh no! Quick! Listen to this story while I quickly generate up a Notes app-style apology tweet with my haunted algorithm. Let's see. Here, this one's fine. It's called, Would You Still Love Me If I Were a Worm? Around 6 months ago, I was bitten by something without a mouth. I must have stepped on it. It whipped back, snapped, and stole a chunk from the gap between my boot cut and the boot itself. I still walk with a limp to this day, but that's really the least of my concerns. See, I have one job here in Hard Drive, Mississippi, and that's keeping the goddamn crows off of the corn and the beans. But now, because of my condition, I can't even do that properly. I use all sorts of tools to get them away from my spot. I'll shoot at them, big old speakers that pump out distress calls, and I got these powerful gas cannons that'll spook the ass end off a rhino. But you gotta aim all of these things, see? And that, my friend, is where my condition comes in. See, what I were bitten by were a worm. And now, anytime I lock eyes with the goddamn moon, I get flipped upside down and turned up into one of them slippery little suckers. Now you might be saying, "Oh, Angular Tommy, what for is the problem here? You working at night, you silly little boy?" And the answer to that rude question is, no. See, it ain't quite werewolf rules, at least how I figure it. It's not a full moon, for one thing. It's any kind of moon, so long as that dang old moon is out during the daytime. And I did some rudimentary Googling way back when it happened to me the first time, so let me tell you something. The moon is out in the daytime like 75% of the time, all year long. About a week ago now, I started looking for a cure, but all I've had is bum luck so far. I thought I could do it. I thought that, were I careful enough, I could avoid the moon the same way you naturally avoid looking at the sun. But it's a mighty sneaky celestial body, I'll tell you that much for free. So today, I quit my job, 'cause the goddamn thing's got me looking up at the sky all day long. Least I could do, says the boss man, is finish up the day. So I tuck my tail between my legs, and I do it. I got this particularly tricky bird here that won't take fuck off for an answer. Bigger fella than all the others, about the size of two birds, really. Looks like a crow, sounds like a crow, but it's jacked in the same way that Dave Bautista used to be jacked before he went all Hollywood. He's here for business, and that business is eating corn till his big old bird belly turns square with the bulk. I saw him coming, like I always do, 'cause for the second before he touches down, the sun goes out eclipse style. Instinct kicked in, and I flicked off the safety on my rifle. I've shot the fella before, but the pellet got lost in his feathers and never found flesh. But this time, I was feeling lucky. I trace him through the air as he swerves to avoid me, and I'm fired up. I got the last chance blues, and I'll be damned if I go home today without his skull around my neck. I breathe out, steady myself, and let loose the pellet. And it dives down with force unreckoned. He's a black smudge, a blur. And behind him stands the paralyzing daytime moon, all bright and round like an egg, like the egg of the worm I'm about to become. My transformation is almost immediate. It all happens with the quickness of a puff of smoke, only without the theatrics. I ain't ever been on the other side of it, so I can't tell what happens, but for me, 1 minute, I'm Angular Tommy, 3rd generation bumpkin, and first in line for the state's largest collection of stolen Denny's silverware. And the next minute, I'm a bigger than average earthworm, with all the powers and abilities of an earthworm, and also all the drawbacks of an earthworm too. Only difference? I still got my human brain, so I know that I'm disgusting, and also about to die. I start jonesing for mud, and it fights against my survival instincts. Do I want to live long enough to turn back into a man, or do I want to get all sloppy style in the dirt? It's harder than you'd think to decide, and it's only after about 20 minutes that I manage to start making my way across the cornfield. There ain't nowhere around me that's safe. There's a barn nearby, but from my worm's eye view, I'm all turned around and I don't know where I'm going. Plus, worms don't even have traditional eyes, so I'm mostly just mulching around, following the light. I hear a swoop, and it just about misses me. I must look more like a snake, but that don't mean I'm safe. Crows ain't afraid of no snakes. They can have a little bit of snake as a treat. Hard work gets me off the dirt, and onto what I think might be gravel or tarmac. Bits of stone get stuck in my worm oil, and I feel the weight on my side like I got 2 bags of Walmart groceries. From the vibrations, I can almost tell I'm on a road, only I haven't been smushed yet. It's quiet around here. That's what I like about hard drive. I start to feel dirt again, and I feel like I'm making good progress. And then, the vibrations come harder and harder. I think, is there a dirt road around here? And I can't picture one. It starts to rumble my bones or whatever worms have instead, and I know it's pulling up beside me. Gotta be a pickup truck or a heavy-duty van. I just hear something like the door pop open on it, and then, muffled through my worm valves, I hear, "Look at the size of this fat little boy." I'm picked up by the head, which is not nice, and thrown into a bucket, which is also not nice. In the bucket, I feel something sickly and slippery and wet, but not wet. I'm almost too big for it, but sliding around amongst the spaghetti innards, I find that I am either in a bucket full of dead worms or cow intestines, which, surprise, surprise, is not nice. A kick in the gas hole, and the driver speeds off down the road. Were it any other context, those dang vibrations might lull me off to sleep. I'm so tired. It's exhausting being a worm. I don't know the calorie count for dirt, but it ain't a quarter pounder, I'll tell you that. Alls I can think about, when I'm not thinking about eating more mud, is how long left till the sun sets. I'm in that bucket for a long time. How long, I could not tell you. How big is a baby gorilla? Worm time sloughs off at a different rate to people time. God damn. With each passing transformation, I'm thinking more and more like one of them. Like a worm, which I am, by the way. How long till I stop munching big old bricks of filth in my spare time? It stops, the truck pulls up, and we, the collected bodies of my kin, murdered in cold blood for some unreal sinister purpose, slosh about in the bucket as we are hefted out of the truck and back into the outside world. I hear the ocean, if that's how worms work, and I realize we're fucking bait. Another engine, and we are hurled onto a boat without a care for how we find the whole situation. Not that anybody but me here would kick up a fuss, I suppose. After some more worm time passes, I feel his rough workman's hand reach into the bucket, and he gives a clump of us a squeeze like we were a couple of perk breasts. He goes for me first, the biggest, the best. Not to sound cocky. Picks me up by the head again, which still is not nice. But what's even less nice is the jagged pain I feel in my ass end as I am placed on the sharp tip of a hook. No time to think, no time to panic. I am huffed back, whipped again, then cast into the ocean. I think for a moment that I will drown before I am eaten by a fish, but as it turns out, I don't feel the need to breathe. Worms cannot drown. Now this is a part of my knowledge. I bob there, in the ocean, where it would be calm and meditative had I not this big fucking huge hook through my asshole. Beneath the deep, I wait. I accept my fate. I feel the stir. Something approaches. Worm sense. I wonder, for a second, if I were ever to return to my human form after long enough, would I retain this sense of detecting doom like I retain my hunger for filth? It draws nearer, and painlessly I am engulfed. It does not chew. It does not have the chance. It too is pierced, and it shakes, and it writhes, and it pulsates with fear. For a moment, the two of us become one, entangled in pain, and fear, and surprise, and I expand, as quick as I were condensed, becoming a man once more, and frankly, blowing the fish apart in the water. I surface, gasping for air, pulled by the line which has tangled around my naked leg. "Good God, man," calls the fisherman. "You've eaten my fish!" Through hard lashings of salt water, I can hardly think. I can only respond, "Yeah, blup blup. Hey, yeah, I did. I'm sorry."
Hello, my name is Jake Lucy, and I am the CEO of the Sleepy Bones Detective Agency. It has come to my attention that sucking up all of the ghosts in my local area and stuffing them into a haunted, ChatGPT-esque large language model King Piccolo style in order to produce a 30-minute Halloween show might be construed by some as morally and fundamentally wrong. Ow! I mean, it's definitely morally and fundamentally wrong. I just didn't have faith in myself or my work. I didn't even know that ghosts could punch you, and for that, I apologize. I would also like to apologize to the following specific ghosts on a personal level. Jansen Junk, Big John Peterson, Pat the Skeleton, Pope Mephistopheles III, a loose ghost from bsky.app, and Abraham Lincoln from history. From this point on, I promise that I will write my own stories with no technological or spiritual input whatsoever. Thought for 13 seconds. Here's an enhanced version of your apology, making you sound much more sympathetic while providing a convenient excuse for ow, ow, ow!
We, the collective of ghosts that were previously mentioned or left unnamed, submit for the approval of the Midnight Society the following tale.
Today, I am born a man. I am 50 or 60. I am laying face up. Fluorescent lamplight flickers above me, lulling me from ebbing incoherence. But that is as much as I care to acknowledge. My surroundings are temporary. I assume that is the lesson I am supposed to be learning here. All is temporary. The flesh, the spirit, the resistance. I am in a surreal amount of pain, which flows from a 10 to an 11 on the NRS scale, but never dips below double digits. I die today, and I think everybody around me knows this as much as I do. Requesting my chart garners funny looks, but I feel like I deserve to know what will take my life this time around. Stage 4B, osteosarcoma. There is too much on the chart to focus. I haven't got the energy. My breathing is forced shallow. A television is turned on in the room, some kind of telenovela. This body speaks Spanish, but I don't. I haven't had a visitor since I woke up. Yesterday, I was a woman, and I was burned at the stake for high treason. Day before that, a kid, crushed by a double-decker bus. Tomorrow, I will die again. This is cycle 40, and predictably, it is over before the sun sets. I close my eyes, succumb to the familiar pain, and fall backwards into the deprivation that bridges the gap between the beginning and the end. The same void where judgment was first passed upon me. I had cheated death, and now death cheats me from rest. In my 83 years, 2 died in my place. A deal had been made, but those most affected by the transaction were not involved, and, for one, this proved unsatisfactory to the nth degree.
There is no need to recount this experience, for, at this point, it is as meaningless to me as infinity. It is less than my name. These memories are far-flung. They are stories told in passing to a shell that has since rotted in the ground. The remainder is holed like wormed wood, like fish netting, like sodden sponge. The particles left untouched are the pain receptors and the fear index. Time passes. Initially, when I was first trying to escape from this personal hell, I counted it as a reflection of the ideal 8 hours of sleep. Now it stretches out forever, just like its surroundings, and I am either here or there, with the transition point moot. I forget myself before I reform. It takes exactly 1 hour for me to adjust to the new life, if you can call it that. To this new body, for me to remember who I am, what I was, how I came to be, and why I am here. I am slipped into the space, and the owner is pulled away. Dreamless sleep, a minor death. I can only believe that it is painless. I can only hope that I am enduring their suffering in their place. I consider the injustice of the cycle, and I can only assume that the worst is yet to come for all of us. In cycle 41, I am born a cat, and when I become conscious that I was not always a cat, I am immediately quartered by visions of what may or may not happen over the next 12 hours. Crushed, torn, kicked to death, choked, diseased, bag full of rocks at the bottom of the river, sadistic, immediate, cruel. I just need to rest, to reset in a world with wind and air and the confinement of a home and a bed, but the body will not allow this. I find that new flesh is resistant to stillness. Despite my fresh-formed, fully functioning senses of taste, smell, and touch, of temperature and spatial awareness, I am not entirely in control. I am a passenger. My destination is fixed. I am a guest, tabled to this perpetual taste-of-flight cycle of life, death, and rebirth. I have been a cat before. I have also been a bird. Both are fragile. Animals do not have an easy life because they don't seem to understand anything that is going on around them. First go around, I was relieved to find myself in the body of a pet, loved, but now it is clear that the majority around us have such little concern for the lives of those that they don't consider to be sapient, and the latter are aware of it, if just by instinct alone. A cat is on edge for 100% of the hours that they are awake, a permanent defensive state, a rippling sensation, akin to the first second of electrocution, surges from my whiskers to my tail, and I hop 6 feet into the air at the slightest twitch in my direction. In this ultra-aware state, I am crossing the road in front of my home. I evade the bald tires of a white van, losing in the one-sided scuffle only the length of my tail. It does not hurt, not as much as the cancer, the memory of which is still so fresh in my mind that I can almost map the sensations to my feline form. I can abide this, but I do not know how much more of this that I can take. A strange feeling comes over me then. Once I have shaken the anxiety, I realize that I am in full control now. The cat, now, is dead. It lays so close to the tarmac, it could be mistaken for a speed bump. I, whatever I was before this, am here now. For the rest of the day, I am able to continue the cat's journey, as if I am a ghost, alone in a world between the greedy living and the jealous dead. I cast my shadow across the town. I bask in the brief winter sun, drink from the half-frozen ponds, and as the sun curls up beneath the horizon for the evening, I retire also. A minor death today, instead of the major. For a moment, I do consider myself a cat, as if accepting this new life, this reincarnation, as the truth, I might break the cycle. I have done it. I have paid my debt, I chance. It is a brief respite. Soon after, I am returned to the void. A burning sensation comes over the form that I do not have here. Where once there was nothing, now I am being witnessed. I am perceived. 150,000 eyes, bleeding wide open, invisible in the darkness, peering into my very soul. I am being judged. Fairly, critically, disparagingly. I have cheated once again. Cycle 42. I am a man executed by lethal injection in front of a live studio audience. Cycle 43. I am an old woman freezing to death in a hovel of newspaper carcasses. Cycle 44. I go into anaphylactic shock in a restaurant. It was not an experiment. Cycle 45. I am worked to death. Cycle 46. I fall onto the tracks. Cycle 47. I am poisoned for political gain. I cannot repeat those results. Cycle 48. Beaten to death in the street for my coin purse. Cycle 49. Industrial accident. Cycle 50. Carbon monoxide poisoning. I give up seeking this glitch in the system. It cannot be forced to happen. I begin to believe that it was intentional. A trick, a forgery to lower my guard, to make me forget for a second that I am a prisoner here. Cycle 51. Shot in the chest on the front lines. Cycle 52. House fire. Though I am badly burned, I am not killed in the blaze. I am missed by the fire rescue team, but by sheer determination, I crawl from the building and rest my exposed muscle on the sidewalk. I survive, but the relief is short-lived. I am not far enough from the building, and when it explodes, a projectile hunk of cement pierces my skull, and I return to the void. Cycle 53. I wake up to a view of some foreign city out of my window. I am tired. It is an expensive view, from the penthouse of an expensive apartment, but it is anything but beautiful to me. It is hopeless. Out of this window, an anthill of 3.6 million strong will leave their homes and taste the warmth of a new sun. And then, when their time comes, I will take their place. I cannot hope to defeat the Reaper at its own game. Once I am back in control, and the uneasy hour has passed, I take the phone off its hook, and I listen to the dead tone for a moment. I force the plastic receiver through the glass, sending snowflake shards to the ground below. I clear space in the corners for my body, and I fall, and I hit the ground, and I am gone with all the swiftness of the day itself. This has been the Sleepy Bones Detective Agency. We're the best in the world, and we'll never die! 2025, baby! Halloween! Woo! You have been listening to The Bone Zone Halloween Half Hour, the only half hour filmed in front of a snide studio audience.
You suck! Get off the stage! I'm a big stinky baby!
I have been your host, Jake Lucy. They say kill him with kindness, and I'm going for murder-suicide. This audiozine is copyright 2025. All resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental. No ghosts were harmed in the making of this show, and in case you're a fucking idiot, we wrote this ourselves with no AI involvement whatsoever. Hell, we don't even have regular AI. Your reliance on other people's work will be the end of you, you fucking losers. If you enjoyed this show, break open your skull-shaped piggy bank and throw a coin at us on patreon.com/SBDA. We can also be found on Apple Podcasts. Other podcasts are available, or you can just go to carefulthere'sbones.com and do me a favor. Until next time, remember to have a good night, say cheese and die, and be afraid. Be very afraid. Stay safe, or don't.